Demented Shaman and Zephyr, of course. Those are the two heroes. When we talked about the boot camping sessions that happened this week before the DreamHack event, I talked to the teams, what's popular right now? Has anything changed? They said, oh man, I'm getting cheese. There's a lot of pushing strats focused around this Demented Shaman and Zephyr. So they go ahead and ban those out.
Yeah, going to go ahead and take care of those. So Demented Shaman, Draconis, Fade, and Zephyr. Going to be all the bans coming out right there. Yeah, you see Haxrin on your screen right there. Haxrin, a star player, of course, the carry player for Complexity. And there's a good shot of both of the teams even side by side. That's my notes, of course, the captain of the team. Thinking of the picks and bans here. Pebble's going to be coming out for B-Kid. And now the final ban coming back out here for Trademark Esports. So what will they do? We'll see.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Now with the lock, the final lock there with Wretched Hag, I talk about this all the time. They do like to run it sometimes as a suicide. It's not my favorite thing, but Zai seems to do it really well. But at the same time, Complexity, they like Hag too. And Haxrin, we've seen him play this in the short lane. And it's a hero that does a lot of ganking, but it also has a lot of late game potential.
Mage Bane going to be the final lock, or ban, excuse me. And again, Mage Bane, he's a powerful hero, and you've even said yourself, you are a little bit baffled as to why we honestly don't see him more, because he was just such a frequent pickup for so long. Glacius is going to be the first pick, though, coming out from Complexity, so yeah, you can make some noise for that. I mean, not the sexiest of picks, but hey, it's a solid start here for Complexity.
Well, he picked it quick. He obviously has a plan in mind, and maybe this is just a safe pick because you know that Ophelia's in that lockpick pool. You don't want to get screwed over right there. There's actually Silhouette and Meraxis. This is almost exactly what tdM started with last time.
Yeah, that's true, actually. This is looking very similar to what Trademark Esports had last time. Of course, not going to be the identical lineup by any means, but definitely can be close. Wait a second, is... Okay, yeah, Waltz was, I was about to say, yeah, he was in the blind bands. Anyways, Darkly Succubus coming out right here for Complexity. And yeah, now that's a hero that definitely deserves some reaction right there. Aluna's the final pickup from tdM on the other hand. But again, B-Kid has been playing a bit of Succubus from time to time, and he makes it work. And of course, Darkly, what better hero than that? Ophelia is going to be picked up. So Chessie Ophelia we are going to see here. It's on the Trademark Esports.
And this is fantastic. They're setting them up. Look at what B-Kid does. There's all suicides left in that. They go Plague Rider, Keeper of the Forest. That's a lot of team fight potential. Probably going to see that suicide, Plague Rider, and Keeper of the Forest in the jungle. Ophelia, though, I mean, Chessie on Ophelia is just crazy. Are we going to see that Moon Meander on Bubbles? Yes, we are, most likely. Moon Meander playing his signature hero. And we have some solid lineups from both sides, but I got to say, I actually, and this is not biased, I actually do think that Complexity has a better lineup, and they just... This is like back to their roots, you know?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's exactly, because again, Glacius, Dark Lady, you got Ophelia in the jungle, so Pseudo Tri-Lane bottom, Bubbles top, Succubus mid is at least what we expect, of course. I mean, exactly. This is typical Complexity. We've been pointing that out, especially their two losses in this event so far. Of course, one being to Orange, and then there's just the previous game, the game one, they lost to Trademark Esports. The biggest thing we brought up was that's not usual Complexity. They're going something different for some reason. As you can see, I've never played this game before. So here we go. Let me actually go ahead and configure that real quickly. Blah, blah, blah. It is going to be a little bit different of a UI. I apologize for that. But here we go. All right. So Bubbles, yeah, going to be, again, it's expected that we are going to see those lanes. Obviously, again, we got to be a little bit careful here. We know that the players for somewhat can hear us, so we want to stay away from saying exactly where they're going before they do get there, or else giving away those special secrets here. But
absolutely, and dual lane mids seem to be so popular in this metagame. And if you're looking at the lineup of tdM, that's most likely what they're going to do. As we actually see the ward come out down there from Plague Rider being played by Zai in that suicide. They did spot him out there, so they probably have a good idea of what's going on, as there is actually a vote to pause.
Apparently he has no fog. Well, see, that actually I know is a bug, and I'm going to go ahead and take care of something more quickly while we are in a pause. But the no fog bug, where it's actually a case of you do have fog still, but you can't actually see it on your minimap or something like that. So it's very confusing, actually.
It is actually, because it looks like you can see someone's there, and then they just show up, but like they just appear out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I've played with it before. It's actually kind of trippy.
Yeah.
But
not the friendliest thing to play with. So, of course, they're going to go ahead and restart their games at least and log back in, and hopefully that issue is fixed. So several players apparently having the same issue. But again, here in game number one, obviously you look at both of them lineup. So you were kind of stressing, I mean, Complexity, for good reason. I mean, this is Complexity's roots right here, at least from what we've seen from them a lot lately. The pseudo tri-lane in the middle, the suicide, most likely in the Bubbles. And then, of course, for tdM, on the other hand, what about Trademark Esports lineup? I mean, how do you like their lineup overall, actually?
Well, I normally don't like play because I feel like, especially in this lane, he can just get destroyed by a number of different dual lanes.
Yeah.
But coupling the Plague with that Keep of the Forest, being played by Minos, he plays a fantastic jungle. And it's just massive team fight. It makes it so easy. I talk all the time about how the Keep of the Forest ultimate, it's just the radius is so huge, you can literally press R and almost anything on your screen does get caught in that ultimate.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the ultimate setting it up for that Plague-goo, it's just so easy, it does massive amounts of damage.
Yeah, it's a very good combination to have, of course. For the Hellborn team. So we'll see how they use all their heroes together. Again, Trademark Esports in this 1-0 spot up here. But of course, I guarantee you they're not playing a case of, all right, if we lose, we go to a game 3 or whatever. No, you don't want to think that. You want to sweep this series here, and you want to go ahead and move and just be done with it, not have to worry about that, of course. So yeah, we see right here again. They're still trying to figure out the issues and reconnect. So. Once again, going to have a quick break right here before we get back into the game. Obviously, that is kind of a downside too. With the schedule conflict, they went from one computer in a sense to another computer actually, and obviously that could help cause some issues. Now, you may have even heard in the background, they did decide to actually remake the game. Apparently, a couple of the players were having troubles even getting back into that one, so they're going to go and remake the game. Of course, it's going to be all pick, and we'll go straight into it. Obviously, not the worst deal in the world.
Yep.
There was no action that even happened. It's still very early on. So we'll go ahead and get that back up. But.
Now, I'm very curious, is that if they do a dual lane mid, obviously Succubus is going to be there. The best thing that Complexity does, they do a really good job about giving a lot of farm early on to their hard carry, whether it be Dark Lady or Silhouette or what have you. Give him that head start and then transition to mid. And I got to say, with the dual range, which it probably will have with Glacius and Succubus, that's pretty good. I mean, that's long range spam, and Succubus, her spells are so powerful, at least in the early game. Yeah,
that's exactly, Franzi playing that Glacius, he's so good at doing that. Seems like he's always on point as far as exactly knowing where to be. You like to stress that a lot, how he really is one of the best support players out there in the competitive heroes we're seeing right now. So I'm actually joining back into the game. Again, making it an all pick here, and going to go ahead and hopefully, there are no spectator spots. That's a problem, so. Technically, that's not a problem.
I mean, I guess we could just jump in it with some
could use our
secret
special powers. We do have those, but no, but they are going to go ahead and remake and make it easy for everyone, I guess. But
they're so nice.
Yeah, nice people, these teams. They are. And that actually brings up a point, just all these teams in general. The great thing about an event like this, the venue, getting all these Han teams and Han fans together just to, to interact, talk about gaming, but specifically Heroes of Newerth in general, all having that common bond of, something that we all love. So, exactly. Shout out for Heroes of Newerth. Let's go. Yeah. Great game. All right,
it's also just really fun to put a face to a name you see and you play with so much. I mean, a lot of these players, maybe not on these teams, but maybe so, where you play with them so long, you build up that relationship online, and it's cool just to actually meet with them and bond with them and play with them. So yeah.
Looks like they made a new game and it still has no spectators. Apparently,
I'm actually in one. You must have joined.
Okay, that was a different one then. That's right. So you're in the Complexity one. Okay.
Yep.
We're going to join off of them real quickly, and all right. So going to load into this one, and again. Apologize, having some slight delays here, but we'll be moving on. I mean, this is it. This is here. This is DreamHack winner. Obviously, it's been in preparation for so long. We talked about this earlier in the event, how it's been a sure, this is the main event course, the big part of it, but it's been a case where it's gone through the last three or 4 months, even if not longer than that. Actually, starting with all the qualifiers, starting with the summer DreamHack or DreamHawn event, destination, no, that was a DreamHawn Summer event. Anyways,
DreamHawn Online, Summer Championship.
DreamHawn Online Summer Championship, something summer. Then it went to the DreamHawn Redemption Tournament, and then the DreamHawn Destination DreamHack. So all of these events have accumulated, of course, all the the worldwide qualifiers as well as Southeast Asia, CIS, Latin America, and whatnot. So this is just the final part of it.
And that first one where it was actually Complexity that qualified for the very first qualifying tournament for DreamHack. And that was really their first time playing together as a team. Obviously, well, I joined you here, and this has been awesome.
Yeah.
And that was their first time of really coming back and playing together as the new Complexity sponsorship.
Yeah. So looks like Trademark Esports, again, we're just waiting on one player now to actually join the game and then get back into what was the first game. Obviously, all picked modes, all the same heroes and everything, and not the biggest deal in the world. So, yeah, man, I mean, well, we've talked about a lot here so far. What else is there? So, how are you guys enjoying DreamHack so far? What about the DreamHack event? You guys like it?
This crowd's awesome, man. This crowd is pretty awesome.
Say, whenever in doubt, you just go to the crowd.
I know it.
And they'll help you out, right? No, the DreamHack event, actually, it's again, I've had the privilege for this to be my personal 5th time, actually. You're saying your 3rd, I believe.
Yep.
And I think you can safely agree with me that it truly is an experience that you need to get the experience of if you are any type of gamer. I mean, you need to get out here somehow. I don't care how. I mean, like I said, I had a guy from Australia that I met that came out here for this event. It's part of a Euro trip, sure, but it was a stop on it, and he made it out. So you can make it out too.
I also got to give a shout out to Sweden, man. Everyone here in Sweden.
Yeah.
Everyone here in Sweden's been so nice every single time I've been here, and it is a little bit cold this time. Very cold.
Baby.
But it looks like the game has actually finally been started once again.
Here we go. Take 2 here. Yeah. Oh, people like Moon Meander.
No way.
Wait, report the news. Report the news. All right, so game 2 has officially, just about started here. It looks like they've picked their heels even, and it looks like everything is good to go. Again, the last thing you want is for somebody to pick the wrong hero here, of course, but they picked the correct one.
One important thing to note is that they actually did spot out the ward coming out from Mazai. Since it is a remake and he did get it off the first time, they are going to go ahead, as they mentioned, and let him just get that off the second time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Some fair play right there. Yes, the countdown has started. 1 second left. Here we go, loading into the game. We have Trademark Esports, of course, on the Hellborn side, and Complexity Gaming on the Legion side. So, into the laning phase we go. We'll see if there are any issues this time around. Obviously, maybe with the mini-map or whatnot, but had that last time. Cross our fingers, and that is all taken care of, and we are good to go. So...
Yep, and it looks like pretty much same lanes and all that jazz, guys. Nothing really fancy right here. Not going to switch it up. That would be pretty bad. Man, as another pause, unfortunately, is going to start this game off.
Yeah, Insanity actually disconnected right there. So again, just probably a quick restart here for him. So, anyways, again, the more as I said earlier, again, just bear with us. Obviously, as far as the casting situation goes, it may not be like our normal cast. Sure, we're going to be hyped up. Let's be honest, but as far as being able to call things like ganks being set up, and of course things like Kong are going on, because the players may not be able to make out every word we're saying, but they can of course hear us somewhat. So you just want to be, it's better to be safe than sorry when it comes down to that. So we have unpaused, and I think we may actually be playing some Han now.
Now, here's the thing: is we can speculate, of course, and looking at these lineups, it is pretty predictable. You can safely assume that it's going to be a silhouette, probably in the short lane. As Moon Meander just sees him, he does get the ward off. Yeah, Moon Meander's going to make his way. Oh man! And he plays. It's going to be a big play from Moon Meander. It seems like, but
that's pretty funny.
Facing off against a silhouette as a bubbles, I've seen Moon do it. It's pretty hard though. I mean, silhouette obviously has the advantage in this lane.
Yeah, in fact, we saw right there, Plague Rider did go down there and actually place the ward of sight in the meantime at the bottom lane. And they actually, it was kind of funny because Glacius and Ophelia were clearly there. They spotted him, and he just actually taunted Ophelia and then ran away after he placed it. So that goes back to what we were talking about. They were going to go ahead and let him do that as he did last game before the remake happened. So, of course, as far as the situation you talked about with Bubbles up there, he eventually got his ward of sight down. So apparently a couple of players are having some issues again as far as the fog goes, but
yeah, that's unfortunate. But actually, Franzi did spot out those animated trees. Unfortunately, a pause again, so maybe we're going to try to fix that issue with the fog.
Yeah, trust me. I mean, the players, again, there's a lot of money on the line. There's a lot of prestige. This is for the title of DreamHack champion. You can't blame them for wanting to at least, get some of these issues figured out. So, and that's exactly why.
Yeah, but talking about what the strategy of what Keeper of the Forest does here with these animated trees, it's very annoying, obviously. It can be combated and can be used if you are that lead inside. You go up there, tank the creep wave for amount of time, but it is kind of annoying. It does make you just go a little bit low, but not the biggest deal in the world.
Yeah, so again, hopefully this goes ahead. Franzi is saying, well, let's go ahead and just make it 1-1 and then go to the third. Okay, they're going to unpause the game. Apparently we are jumping back into game number 2. And again, let's just cross the fingers. Hopefully this is actually the start of the game here between these two teams. So 1-0 series lead in favor of Trademark Esports. Very important to remember that, of course, as this is a best out of 3 series. So Complexity, if they were to lose here, it's over, obviously. And Complexity to win, though, force that third and final game. So Succubus versus Aluna, more access mid. You kind of talked about this. maybe expect Glacius to eventually roam here after, giving some support at the bottom lane, but we'll see.
A lot of harass coming up early on to Succubus being played by Beakid, of course. Beakid throwing some hits right back. He hasn't actually leveled up his skill yet, but we'll have to wait and see what he does. It's pretty obvious. Level 1 doesn't really matter too much, but yeah, you can most likely assume that Franzi will transition there to the mid lane. That's usually what happens, and we'll have to wait and see what happens, though, with that.
Yeah, Bubbles versus Silhouette. You talked about this earlier, and as we've seen all the time, Silhouette is, well, he has a favorite, to be honest, at the top lane. So expect, who's that? Of course, Noob G playing the Silhouette up here against Moon Meander's Bubbles. Moon Meander does play great Bubbles. It's safe to say that even that's a signature hero as of late when it's all said and done. But even the best of them, it's not a very easy matchup. But yeah, Franzi heavily harassing, man, on that Plague Rider down there. So really making life difficult for Zai down here.
The problem, though, is he got the ward off. The pull is blocked, so he's actually getting good lane farm and lane control from Plague Rider, obviously using that deny.
Oh, middle lane, Beacon in a lot of trouble, and Bloodlust Kill going to come out in favor of Trademark Esports. Insania picks out the Bloodlust as Marax has followed it up with a stun. Well played right there, and Beacon, he just kind of underestimated it, I think. He used the Heartache initially, but it seems like he just underestimated the potential of those two heroes.
I mean, it's a lot of damage, it's a lot of spam, and, even though they're level 2 and don't have that second ability leveled up, they can still dish out a lot of damage. Obviously, Insania did harass quite a bit before that engagement.
Yeah, so Succubus, in the meantime, is just going to go ahead and have to respawn and come back, but while that's taking place, of course, Limp here on Moraxis is actually just going to go ahead and, continue to farm. Limp, of course, the brother of Chessie. How awesome that must be, by the way. The fact that he gets to play against his brother here on the main stage for the Heroes of Newerth DreamHack Winter 2012 Grand Finals. Pretty damn cool. And, of course, his team is up 1-0, so I'm sure he's got some fun topics about that.
I mean, it's crazy. I didn't even know for the longest time, as I'm sure most people did not know that they were brothers. But now that actually I've said it, or that it's been said, I look at them, I'm like, yeah, actually, they do look quite the same, so...
They do look alike. That explains a lot. Here we go, though. Again, Luna and Moraxis just doing their thing in the middle lane. We do see Succubus trying to go back and forth, but knowing that he has to play fairly cautious here because of what happened earlier, of course. Plague Rider being played by, you mentioned the Ward of Sight that was placed. It is giving him some good chance, actually, to get some decent experience and some good creep growth, especially on top of the deny from him. As they cannot either stack or even pull because of that board block. But something tells me Franzi, being the great sport that he is, eventually going to put a Water Revelation down here, perhaps, and take care of that. But it hasn't happened just yet.
Yeah, he wants to get lane control and lane position by double stacking that pull, as he did counter that. But I'm actually a little surprised, too. I haven't seen some movement towards mid, and as a result, Beakid not exactly having the greatest time in mid, as expected. I mean, he is against this dual lane. He did feed up First Blood, so it's a very good start yet for tdM.
Yeah, Beakid, man, again, he's an awesome Succubus player, of course. This is kind of a signature hero for Complexity, you can safely say. Really, no other team, I don't think, ever picks up Succubus, but when we do see it, it is on Complexity, played by Beakid. And I made the point, I forget exactly what tournament it was. I think it was the Redemption tournament, actually. DreamHack Redemption, where Complexity eventually won that tournament. Succubus was actually 4-0 throughout that event, played by Beakid. So, again, they're very successful with him. And they're using him here on the main stage of the Grand Finals Game 2, down 1-0 against tdM. So clearly he's confident with the hero. And clearly he's confident that they could be enough to pull them through for a victory here.
Yeah, Moon Meander is, as expected, this lane is just so difficult for a Suicide Bubbles when you're playing up against a Silhouette. It's a very common lane. But Noobg doing something a little bit different, actually. He usually goes for those Ghost Marchers, but he's actually rushing a Ring of Health right there.
Huh, yeah, we see...
or a Life Tube, excuse me.
A Life Tube, yeah. Bubbles is going to push back this top lane, though, or at least farm it somewhat, of course, with the tower. Hitting that level 5 mark. Taking a close look at the actual creep farm. 9-4 now, 10-4 Bubbles against that 26-7 Silhouette. So yeah, clearly dominating when you look at it that way. So very, very good start for Noobg, as he had last game, of course, on the same hero. And well, to say the least, he was a big part of their victory, of course, in the first game.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what Chessie does. He's just kind of been a little bit quiet this game, as has Franzi. And as a result, I mean, we talk about this. Succubus is just really getting absolutely nothing mid. Still has not yet had his bottle on his hero. And I don't know how effective he's going to be. He's lacking in levels. He's lacking in farm. And this is a hero that really has to do well in the early game.
Yeah, this is not, I think, actually, maybe I was saying, kind of a snowballing hero that, exactly, doesn't even have the bottle, as you put it. Still struggling to get that. He does hit level 4 right there, so at least able to leech enough experience. But, you got got to wonder how much of an impact a Succubus is going to have if she's going to be completely underfarmed. And that may turn Succubus into more of a pure support role if she just gets completely underfarmed. And, you know, again, that's not exactly what you're looking. You would love to get the early bottle, you know, eventually the early portal key, and being able to take advantage of that. But with the way things are looking right here, that could very likely not happen, because in the meantime as well, limp on the Meraxes. Talk about free farm, 30 and 16. Look at the farm all across tdM's side. I mean, it's just a little bit better in terms of the creep kills right now for Trademark Esports.
Well, they basically have 4 farmers, or at least 4 heroes that are getting decent farm, whereas Complexity really only has 3. And it's not even that great. Of course, Bubbles is one of the other ones that should be getting the farm in a 1v1 situation, but it's just too difficult, Bubbles versus Silhouette.
Yeah, Luna right here, actually. We're getting harassed by Heavy Ballista and an Archer, so saying hello to his friends and going to go ahead and take them out. And look at the bottom lane, though. Ophelia, Dark Lady, and Calacius are grouping up down here. Ophelia with a double Minotaur. Shocker, shocker. Chessie with double Minotaur army. Going to push this bottom lane. We'll see if and what anything tdM puts into defending this. Zai's kind of hanging out a little bit nearby, tempting fate somewhat, but of course, Complexity, they're just going to go ahead and push the tower, mass push it. Again, it doesn't look like, for now at least, that Trademark Esports is going to defend it. In the meantime, however, in the middle lane, it is being pushed as well from Trademark, so we could see a tower exchange basically going on right here. There's the bottom tower, and there's the middle tower. So, a tower exchange coming on. It looks like the bottom lane, though, Complexity may keep this push going here.
Yeah, one of the things about Plague Rider, too, is kind of a drawback is because you have that Extinguish, and it pushes the lane back naturally. You're denying your creep. If you do have a push strat, or like semi-push strat, it actually backfires on you just a little bit.
Yeah, at the bottom lane, though, that tower's falling quickly, man, all the way down to below half life. So Trademark Esports really needs to think about doing something here. I guess they can't, though. They're going to lose this tower, and that's going to be another tower taken out in the middle lane. Ports are coming in, though. There's a Mesmerize on Meraxes. This could be huge for Calacius. The freeze on top of that. He dodges the Axis. Song of the Sea. In comes Succubus with the Harding. Power coming out. The stop going to be dodged, though, by Moomiander. And down goes Meraxes. So 1-to-1 kill now exchanged. Or not 1-to-1 exchange, but we are tied at 1-to-1 hero kills as a result of that. Meanwhile, at the bottom lane, actually, Dark Lady putting some pressure on Plague Rider, but he'll stay alive, so Complexity, a great swing right there.
I mean, I say all the time, if you know you're ahead, you feel like you're ahead, you shouldn't really be trading, and that wasn't even trading. That was a 1-for-1 in tower at first. They were going for the second one. They weren't even going to get it, so they definitely need to do something about that second-tier tower. And then staying up too far, you have to expect that Mesmerize is going to come out.
Yeah, we're only 8 minutes, and not even 8 minutes into this game. The fact that the bottom lane is completely cleared out of towers already is pretty disturbing on tdM's side, as we'd like to talk about, you know, not only for the gold purpose, but for the map position for Trademark Esports. I mean, they have 0 towers now at the bottom lane, so whether it's vision, whether it's a place to port to, they just simply put don't have that. So again, that's very effective for Complexity, and looking much better for them right now. And Succubus, it seems like he is starting to recover somewhat. Obviously not looking godlike by any means, but he is actually recovering, and that is, again, great news here for the Legion team. He's got Beacons early Striders. This is what he typically does, and of course, we'll see where he goes from there.
Of course, I know from playing with Beacon, if he's ever having a rough early game, he always goes, oh, this is a Striders whatever game. This is Striders Bottles game, Striders whatever game. And so he's having a little bit of rough time, but actually, yeah, picking up a little more stats on top of that. So, he had a worse start, but he's making up for it.
Noob G in the same time, though. Again, Noob G, big plays last game on the same hero on Silhouette. This time around, not much different. I mean, 60 and 16 creep farm some great 2PM. Here comes Moomiander. They're jumping in with a couple, but the counter root going to come out now. Moomiander maybe a little bit of trouble. Down goes Silhouette, however. Keeping the force, trying to chase down, put it in the interval. But the Succubus all going to lock him down. Is it going to be enough damage on to keep the force? Minus tinking it. Bubbles coming back at the outfielder. But the Plague Ooh bouncing around. Bounces to the creep over. Back over to Succubus. That will be the final bounce. And in the end, Keeper of the Force does survive as well, with barely any life right there, as you can see. Wow, what an exchange between the two teams.
I mean, right there was an exchange. They got a free kill onto Noob G, and that is the most important hero right now that you have to get a kill on. Yeah, obviously Meraxes is important too, as he was doing very, very well in mid, and usually it's the initiators and gankers that you want to have the worst time. The farmers can always bounce back sometime in the mid to late game, but the initiators absolutely need to farm. But regardless, Silhouette having that great time against Moomiander on Bubbles, as expected, getting that kill was huge.
Yeah, Meraxes actually pushing up the, thinking about maybe doing something here. Succubus just defending the middle lane in the meantime. Going to, of course, get some creep kills here and work towards getting a little bit better. He has like early Grave Locket, actually. So he's seeing Strider's Grave Locket. That's not horrible, especially for the start that he got. Again, Beacon,
really not.
Looking actually very strong. And the Grave Locket doesn't even have a charge in it. And that's very important to remember, especially early on in the game.
Yeah.
That's going to be 10 seconds taken off on his resurrection time as a result of that.
Yeah, when you're respawning for, what, 25 seconds, it makes a huge difference. And, the thing with a ganker like this is similar to Witch Slayer in the sense that Complexity runs it all the time, is you just go Striders, get a little bit of stats like a Grave Locket, and then a Blink to follow. And it's very effective all throughout the game.
Yeah. Plague Rider just going to try to keep doing his thing here at the bottom. Actually, Plague Rider going Ghost Marchers. How about that? Zai going the Ghost Marchers route, and he just picked up Bracers right there. So maybe an Astrolabe they're going to be in the works. But what do you make of the Ghost Marchers?
I mean, I think it's fine. He's already got a lot of movement speed early on.
Yeah.
It's very fast. I think it's 315 base movement speed. It's going to let him maneuver around a little bit more, especially to get away from, well, the Glacius Slow, and of course the Taint Soul from Dark Lady.
Yeah. Ophelia, again, just roaming around right here in her own jungle, doing her thing. So, again, Chessie, a great, arguably the best Ophelia player out there. So just like Zai last game, again, on the Wild Soul, this time around, Complexity feeling good, not only with that pick, but just the overall lineup that they have. Right now, though, I mean, it is a slight favorite for tdM when you do look at all the stats and whatnot, but Complexity, it's very even, if anything. I mean, it's nothing too overwhelming by any means. So we've got a very even game here on what is just coming up to 11 and a half minutes into this game. Limp going back into Sniper Creep Go. Obviously, Portal Key, got to start thinking for him, perhaps, as maybe even his next enemy. He's got his Steam Boots and Bottle. Why not, right? So we'll see. Top lane, we could see some push going on, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see a little bit more passive play right now. Actually, the Glacius is trying to pursue onto Meraxes. Homecoming Stone is out. There's the ultimate for actually from Succubus. 1 Homecoming Stone, 2 Homecoming Stones. They're going to respond. Can they kill him beforehand? It's really huge. Yes, they do. Glacius will follow as a result. The Ophelia heal coming out. There's the Plague Goo. It's bouncing back and forth. Favorable bounces. Ophelia's going to be in a lot of trouble now. And actually, Noob G picks up a double tap, and in response, Hellborn actually still get a tower. And oh no, Moonman reporting out. Is he gonna know the root comes out now? Moonman is gonna be in a lot of trouble. He tries to take cover, but he's gonna fall. So a big exchange for tdM.
Trademark Esports, what a big momentum push for them. Again, they're a little slightly ahead going into that fight. Now definitely a good sized lead. 12 minutes into the game here, both in that golden experience stat. How about those plays? I mean, that Plague Goo, it was a great spread, actually. Chessie did an excellent job of moving his minions away from himself, and it was an excellent spread. But again, with his positioning, it was just Silhouette just kind of sat there like, all right, free damage, and you're dead. So then, of course, they got to kill Meraxes, so good start, but it did not pay off in the end for Complexity right there. So very well played, very well executed by Trademark.
I mean, clearly Complexity knows that tdM right now has a little bit of an upper hand. All you have to do is just look at the levels. Look at Keeper of the Forest level 10, Noob G on Silhouette level 10 as well. And I mean, it's really difficult going into that in the mindset, having those levels, especially when you compare them, like jungle to jungle, level 7 to level 10 on Ophelia to Keeper of the Forest respectively.
Yeah, and Dark Lady actually down here at the bottom lane. She's going to Charging Strikes away before any danger comes in. She does have their Ghost Marchers and Sustainer picked up, so you'd like to think on their way to the Ruined Cleaver. And speaking of that, want to keep an eye on the jungle and how things are stacking up here, literally, for Complexity. Of course, that's something that, especially once she gets that Ruined Cleaver, will really be able to take advantage of, and even her Ancient. So keep that in mind here. Bubbles at the top lane. Moon Meander just trying to pick up some bit farm here at the top side. Kind of going back and forth. Right now, what is he at? He's around 237 gold per minute. Not too shabby. His Steam Boots are Ring of the Teacher as he is going to retreat now, it looks like. So bottom lane, Plague Rider, again, just continuing to farm up a little bit. And
yeah, and Plague Rider actually has, he already has, of course, the Ghost March, as you mentioned, and then now the Astrolabe. This is very early for a Suicide Plague Rider, so Zai always making some good plays. His farm is really, really well.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, again, Zai, we say this player, talk about MVP status for tdM, and no doubt it has to be Zai here for them. And then there's a Portal Kid, a Succubus right there, locking down Silhouette. Will this be enough burst damage? Song of the Sea, Silhouette will not be able to get away, so surprise, surprise. Portal Key coming out from Succubus right there.
Can you believe it?
Yeah.
14-minute Portal Key, Striders.
No.
Goes. I cannot believe that he has this amount of farm with a horrible, absolutely horrendous start that Beacon has. I mean, this guy's just solid. 2-1 and 2 beforehand. I mean, he had 3 CS or something at like the 10-minute mark. It was crazy.
I can't believe it. To answer your question, no. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous that he was able to do that, and obviously setting up a big kill again right there, and that was definitely a surprise factor, obviously. Completely caught Noob G off guard. Now, he did just purchase his Blessed Orb, it looks like, before that death, so he spent a good amount of gold on that, I'm sure, but so the Null Sun is eventually going to become a quickly here. Again, his GPM is actually still up there with the best of the best, but a kill's a kill, and obviously slowing him down is what you want to be doing here for Complexity.
The one thing Complexity, they can't get complacent. They have to realize about the timings. The timings of what items are going to be coming out on certain heroes. Specifically, this Miraculous. You've got to be careful of that blink. Don't get caught off guard like actually Noob G just did with Succubus getting that. But I mean, come on. Could you really expect a Portkey coming out that early from Succubus?
Yeah, you can't blame them, exactly. It's that thought of, wait, what? A Portkey on Succubus? Wait, you got nothing in the middle lane. I still don't know how BKid did it, but it's BKid after all, and again, speaking of MVP status, we've been giving him a lot of credit for that. So Dark Lady obviously is still working on that Rune Cleaver, trying hard and hard to go ahead and finish that, and then, like I said, eventually take out some possible stacks here in the jungle. Whether or not this team is doing that, we'll see, but of course, I expect once he gets that Rune Cleaver for his gold per minute to start skyrocketing. And you look at the gold per minute chart right there. He is up there with the best of them, with that Silhouette and Keeper of the Forest even. Speaking of Keeper, Soul's Bulwark, Plated Greaves, and Ring of Source around him actually.
Yeah, he is very far. Minot's having a great game so far, and the thing I'm just scared about is you have to look at the levels. You can't ignore it. Ophelia level 7. I mean, Chessie, he's a fantastic Ophelia player, but I really feel like with the amount of farm he spent in the jungle early on and not really ganking, I feel like he should have more farm, at least more levels.
Yeah. And being level 7, not the highest right there. Bottom tower is going to be pushed, coming out here by Trademark Esports, of course. In the meantime, Complexity doing the same in the mid, but a port coming in that's going to quickly get Complexity to retreat for now. And tdM will win that exchange right there. So again, you look at the overall gold and experience advantage. It is still looking very, very good for Trademark Esports here when you put it that way, but we'll see if, of course, that continues on here. Rune Cleaver has been purchased. Now, Succubus porting in, actually. Nope, nothing going to happen from that, so we'll just fall back. But yeah, Rune Cleaver is on Dark Lady, and going to start really maximizing your farm now going into that jungle. So that's dangerous. I mean, a Dark Lady with the Rune Cleaver. Last thing you want to see for the opposition, of course. Yeah, absolutely. You got to recognize the timings, though. Silhouette having that Null Stone, that's very bad for the Legion team as well. But I really do feel like Dark Lady, she can recover and farm with that Rune Cleaver. You farm so fast, and if Complexity is doing a good job of stacking all those camps, she's going to bounce back pretty quickly. Yeah. I'll think to keep it out. Of course, Nullstone could be great against heroes like Succubus and whatnot, but at the same time, Succubus can easily deactivate the Nullstone very quickly before she wants to maybe Succubus hold or something like that. So, not the end of the world in that sense. And also, there's a Taint Soul from Dark Lady, so they have ways to deactivate it fairly easily if they choose to do so, going into those fights. But again, it's just such a core item on Silhouette no matter what, really. So. Yeah, the tower control right now is the name of the game, though, for Trademark Esports. Having that middle tower, having that top tower, it gives you so much map control. And Complexity really needs to do something about that. Again, I keep pointing back to Ophelia. I really feel like she hasn't had exactly the highest impact in this game at 0-1-1. Yeah, she hasn't. I mean, it's simple. It really is as simple as that. He's level 8 right now. As you said, he didn't spend a lot of time, being as aggressive as maybe we're used to seeing Chessie. And it is showing as far as his lack of farm. So. We'll see if Chessie can recover. Of course, again, a great Ophelia, even the best Ophelia player out there. So definitely, if anyone can do it, it could be him. But it is going to take some time. Now, as we get into the late game, it's important to note, the differences between carries. And well, actually, we have maybe some action here. Beacon suspects something is up, but nothing will find nothing right there. But notice the matchup of Dark Lady against, of course, Silhouette. The Dark Blades are very, very powerful against Silhouette. You do have to get a Shrunken Head in the late game to really mitigate that. Oh yeah, we talk about that a lot because it seems like this matchup. Yeah, of course, it seems like this matchup with Dark Lady versus Silhouette. It frequently happens. Even it's as far as hard carry versus hard carry goes, and you love to bring that up. I mean, for good reason. You love to bring it up. The Dark Blades, excellent ability, especially against a hero like Silhouette. So. That silence is very powerful, so yeah, going to be dangerous having to deal with that. So as you mentioned, getting that Shrunken Head on Silhouette is very important. So would you say Shrunken Head after this Nullstone is priority here? For Silhouette? Yeah. You're asking the guy that loves this Shrunken Head, but I absolutely do. But even before that, I think Portal Key is just so necessary on a Silhouette. And he's done it a number of times in this tournament, and I expect that to be the next pickup for Noob G. Yeah. Speaking of Portal Key, Moomiander does have his. I don't know how long he's actually had. I believe he just got it here recently, so... of course, solid item pickup there, and something you want to see. Now, 19 minutes into the game, still fairly early. It seems like it actually has been a little bit longer, even, at least in my mind. But I mean, that's with all the pauses and everything. But yeah, the Portal Key picked up on Moomiander, and he's level 11 on top of that. So a level 2 ultimate going to be coming out from him as well. So even more useful. But look at the middle lane. Keeper of the Forest joining here as well as more access. Plague Rider also joining the party. Looks like they might want to make a push happen here. We'll see how successful. The tower is fairly low, and it looks like it is going to fall here. Will it be denied? The Skeleton King. Oh, Chessie! Perfect timing right there with the deny. He was waiting that whole time with the Skeleton King, and it paid off.
Yeah, it does mitigate a lot of gold there for Trademark Esports. It doesn't matter that the main important thing is that you lose that map control. And actually, look at they're just going to march on top and just keep on pushing, keep on, pub trading if you will. But hey, it works.
Yes, they will. Keeper the Forest joining from behind right there, and all 5, as you said, are up here. The pub trading status in effect. Trademark Esports is going to take out this other tower here. Nothing Complexity can do about it, it looks like. And that will be even more gold coming out as a team for Trademark Esports. So is that the last tower? No, there's still the bottom outer tower down here. But obviously, 5 towers have been killed now for Trademark Esports. They've only lost 2 towers themselves, which just so happen to be both at the bottom lane. So, but a 5-2 tower kill advantage in favor of Trademark. Even without seeing the stats, like I said, you gotta know if you're Complexity that you are behind in gold at this point.
They're definitely behind in gold. They have to know that with all those towers down. The experience not too out of hand. I mean, you can just tell with the levels by looking at that. Of course, Ophelia he has actually his Astrolabe shown that, and that's going to be good for him. The double heal coming out on top of his ultimate.
Yeah, Ophelia, of course, that heal, man. I mean, that can be so clutch. At times, and even we saw it used earlier, it was pretty effective. So, but yeah, the Astrolabe on top of that, it's the Astrolabe's really cool for Ophelia too, because it keeps his creeps up even for when they're pushing and whatnot. Maybe some spam abilities are used. That power throw from the Luna uses the Astrolabe and they go right back up. So, very effective right there. But
Succubus has been holding on to this dust for quite some time. He used one actually try to spot out, Keeper the Forest, finding somebody. But this is just going to be one of those more passive games. It's only 4-4 right now. Dark Lady versus Silhouette, Carry versus Carry.
Yeah.
I do think as it gets to the much later game, Complexity plays very well, but they definitely are at a deficit. And they're just going to be content, both teams farming and farming.
Yeah, again, nothing wrong with that. With so much of being on the line here, the $48,000 between these two teams that they're competing for, the DreamHack title that they're competing for. I mean, so much on the line. Just these teams together. Again, these teams don't like each other. Even you saw in the pregame interview that we had with Insania and Moomy, and Insania was like, "We're going to 2-0, no big deal," right in front of him. So clearly, the confidence is there for both these teams, and well. That's what just makes this matchup that much sweeter that we got it. Trademark Esports, of course, up 1-0 right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of these heroes here for the Legion side have been sitting on the same items for quite some time. They just can't really find to make a move anywhere. And tdM seems to be controlling the map a lot more. At this, what I talk about, the map control is specifically correlated with these towers.
Yeah, the towers, exactly. That's the big deal right now in favor of Trademark Esports. So Complexity, again, name of the game can definitely be a case of, well, Haxron is level 14, and he's had that Rune Cleaver for a bit now, so you can naturally expect that his farm is definitely up there, of course, if you're Trademark Esports, of course, and we'll see where he goes from there as far as being able to take advantage of the farm that he does have. In the meantime, Aluna, kind of farming away in the middle lane. And yeah, but of course, Dark Lady, something like a Shrunken Head next or wherever else, we'll see what she exactly wants to go for. Ophelia, the follow-up to the Astrolabe now with the Ring of Sorcery, of course, picked up. Maybe Plate of Grief. She's still sitting on her little red booties there, so not what upgrade does. Oh, and look at that. Kongor has been killed in favor of Trademark Esports. And who has that token of life? Well, we actually won't say just yet. But you can see on your map, or your screen even, who has that token of life.
Yeah, that's very good, and it just attests to the tree minions and having all that damage through Kongor, and they got it relatively quickly. I mean, it was not a slow Kongor.
Yeah, I could tell on the mini map there that they're doing it, but again, want to stay off Kongor. He makes a lot of loud noises, and let's just say he can be very obvious if he's being attempted. So
yeah,
again, with the players somewhat being able to hear us, want to stay away from any chance of that. So Complexity, it looks like they're going to try to just do a bit of a counter push here in the middle lane. Now they should be able to get this tower. It's very low. Look at the top lane as well. Moomian are doing his thing up here on Bubbles, but the bottom tower in favor of the Hellborn team is going to be mass pushed again. This is the last outer tower here. But Complexity may be able to get 2 towers themselves, pending ports up here. Will they push into the base, though? Is the question now from Trademark Esports. We'll see here in a second.
They have the token of life, of course. I think they might will. It's going to be a very scary. BKD likes to play passive. He just sits in the base. Try to spam out as best as you can.
Yeah, Silhouette, of course, is the one with the token of life, as you can see now. She's pounding into that tower, trying to drop it in the background. Moraxis keeping the force up there. Here we go, the jump from Moomander. The lockdown on the Keeper the Force with the second missile. Dark Lady jumps in. They're trying to prevent the roof from coming out, and they will. Keeper the Force will fall. Silhouette pounding in damage, however, but Dark Lady doing some work. Moraxis going to fall right there. Silhouette running away with the Luna and Plague. The Plague was not even used, actually. More ports coming in. Now Luna's going to get taken out. Oh, the sleep right there. That's a little bit odd. but Insania should fall. Actually, a little bit of taunt even going on right there.
They're still going.
Yes, she does. They are
want
still
more.
going indeed. They want to chase them
more.
down. Another portal key going to be coming up here by Succubus. Will they be able to find them? It doesn't look like for now, but Complexity holds it off at the base, and that was big.
That was so disciplined. That was so well coordinated. It's like they had that planned out from like a minute ago. They knew exactly what they were doing. Minus just standing too far up there. He has that portal key. They know that, but he was standing too far up there, and they coordinated. Obviously, you have the cover of darkness behind everyone else. Yep. You initiate on the person in the front. It makes it too difficult to see what's going on.
Oh, how about this, actually? Bubbles running into a death trap. So I'm going to see the Shell Surf. He will port away, but will it be enough to get away? Succubus on the other hand. He has a portal key coming up. Not going to matter, though. Death or Silhouette jumping in, and that death blood is just too powerful. So down she goes. You saw right there, Bubbles and Succubus doing a bit of roam, trying to maybe catch somebody, but they could not.
Yeah, Bubbles obviously has now that tablet of command. It's a very good tool against, well, especially Miraxis. Maybe not so much a Keeper of the Forest, but being able to get away from those axes as they hit you over and over and over, slow you from time. It's a good pickup right there.
Yep, it definitely is right there for them. So about 15 seconds now, resurrecting, of course, for Beacon on a Succubus after that unfortunate death for him. So Gold still is in favor of Trademark Esports, but yeah, your experience right now is fairly even between these two teams. So Trademark Esports, however, it's rinse and repeat type deal apparently, even though it didn't work the last time. They want to try again. Now they may know that some ultimates may not be up here for the Legion side, but we'll see if this can work. Remember, Tree Root was not used last fight,
right.
So they do have that to take advantage of as well. So maybe that's what they're going to bank on here.
Yeah, they just need to spam out, like I said before. The important thing is they still have that token of life on the Silhouette. That's why they're down here. That's why they're pushing. Yeah. They've got a lot of damage down onto that defense tower, over half damage onto that, and they're looking in a good spot. They have all their ultimates, but it looks like they might back away. Nope, they're just going to stay here.
God, that double armor buff, man. 29 armor right now on the Silhouette, excuse me. 63.5% damage reduction for physical. That on top of the token of life. You see her right there having some fun with the tree grapple. Getting away before she gets jumped. But this tower, it is dropping. I mean, the top lane is being pushed somewhat by the creep wave, but I don't think it's enough of a threat for Trademark Esports to have to respond to it anytime in the very near future. So they can kind of just keep doing this over and over until the tower eventually falls. But yeah, keep that in mind that the Plague Rider Keeper of the Forest combination, the double armor buff, can be very effective.
Yeah, I don't think Silhouette's really doing that much damage right now. She does have the token of life, but I really feel like they need to initiate on the big ultimate hitters like Keeper of the Forest and Plague Rider.
Bubble, Shell Surf right there, not going to port in with it, of course. You see the tower. Oh, I thought we may have had initiation, but Silhouette just jumping away with their own portal key and just going to continue to clear it out. So here comes another creep wave, going to eventually be hitting here for the Hellborn side. And man, that tower is getting low, but the Legion team, they clearly have some decent creep clearing potential as they're showing here, and it's working out fairly effectively. The Tree Dog's going to lead the way, take some damage, and Silhouette keeps going back up. Now and again, she has the token, so very difficult choice right there. If you want a jumper, the tower will have fallen to another tablet on top of the tree grapple right there. That looks pretty funny, but the tower's still alive. They should just deny. Right?
That was actually a tablet by Moonmander.
Oh,
that's his one on cooldown, yeah.
There's
a deny again from Jesse. Jesse's just on par with those denies and those creeps. Now, the important thing is that it's still a tower. The racks are now exposed. That's a big thing, though. Token of Life is still up on the Silhouette. Hopefully, Complexity did their homework and wrote that timer down, and they should know about after when Congo respawns.
Yeah, again, that's why it's for me where I didn't really react, because honestly, like you said, it's the base tower. For the base tower to be denied, not the biggest deal in the world, honestly. That you just want to open up the rack, and that's exactly what it is. Here we go, the jump in from Miraxis right there. Silhouette with the follow, trying to burn on the target, but that shotgun head comes up, and look at Dark Lily destroying Trademark Esports right there. The Plague is bouncing around, but not enough. However, the Root going to come out now. Dark Lily may be a little bit in trouble. Silhouette comes back, of course. That is actually, that is a fake Silhouette right there. The real one is, well,
right in the middle.
Right in the middle right there. Yeah, she's falling back right now. Dark
Plague Rider.
Plague Rider. No, not going to get away. The Talbot not enough. The Skull getting locked down. A little of a fall. There's that dust coming out now. Succubus is going to fall, but Silhouette, can she defend Keeper of the Forest? I don't believe so. Keeper of the Forest will go down. And Complexity Gaming fighting strong here in game number 2.
They are so good as it approaches the late game. It's only to like the mid to late game right now, but they're just so composed. They know exactly what they want to do. It was very scary for Dark Lady at one point. I thought she was going to die. She got rooted as she was using that shrunken head, but the heals coming out from Tessie was just too much.
Yeah, stressed that earlier. I mean, especially with the Astrolabe on top of her, just her obviously her ultimate heal, which is now level 2. It's some great burst heal, and it's one of those cases where you think you have the kill, all of a sudden those heals happen. You're like, well, crap, that burst did not work. So Complexity, man, fighting strong indeed. They saved the racks. That's the important thing. So the towers is destroyed, of course, but the racks are still alive. And again, that's what they like right there.
The thing is they're defending this as the Token of Life was still up on them. Silhouette obviously doesn't have it. You can imagine how much, with the composure that they have, how are they going to coordinate these team fights without the token? I feel like it's going to be a lot easier.
Yeah.
And if you look at the levels, you've got to assume they actually are in the lead.
Dark Lady's only going to get scarier and scarier, man, by the way, too. I mean, the Firebrand, the Shrunken Head, you can safely assume, you know, something like the Geometer's Bane going to be picked up on her. So she is going to get scary. You stressed earlier, too, how, especially against Silhouette, Dark Lady is fantastic.
Yeah.
And now, granted, Silhouette herself, you know, you were saying that the idea, at least, of a Shrunken Head could be powerful. We'll see if she eventually picks that up. But,
well, it's funny you actually say Geometer's Bane for Dark Lady. Normally, you almost always see the Frostburn.
Oh,
but
true.
In this case, against a Keeper of the Forest, it's almost like imperative to have that those two different ways to get out of that ultimate is so important.
Well, that's why I said it, Trout.
Oh, all right. All right.
Just kidding. You're actually right. I didn't even think about that, the Frostburn pickup. But, yeah, the Geometer's Bane, we'll see what route Haxorn decides to go on that Dark Lady. So in the meantime, Keeper of the Forest and more access as well. So really everyone here, it seems like on the Hellborn team, going to somewhat push here in the middle lane. Maybe go somewhere else. But remember, again, Conqueror may be coming up here shortly. Again, you hope both teams kind of keeping that in mind as far as their in-game timer goes and paying attention to that situation. So, yeah, the warding situation, well, we can't really talk about. But you can see on your mini-map, you know, and even right here, I'll show it off a little bit on how things are going on as far as the wards go. For both of the teams. Obviously, Insania and Franzi, to say the least, doing some good work right here, as you would expect.
You know what's one interesting? Oh, I'm sorry. You know what's one interesting stat to me is look at Limp's score. Actually, he had the free farm mid. He's 0-4-1. That just struck me as kind of interesting. Yeah, it doesn't exactly have the greatest farm coming into the 32-minute.
That's very true. I mean, yeah, he really hasn't had the biggest impact. Looking at those hero kill stats, I mean, the portal key, the early portal key, and the steam boots. He has the helmet of the Black Legion now, but. I guess maybe it's just a case of the Legion team is just initiating a little bit better. Moraxis hasn't been able to. That's what I think it is. I mean, Moraxis hasn't been able to get. Although I think he did jump last fight actually. So I don't know. It's just not working. It's just not coming together. So we'll see if Limp is able to pick that up here in what is of course game number 2, with Trademark Esports up 1-0, but Complexity fighting strong here in the second game.
How about Moonmeander, though? Starting out in that suicide lane against a Silhouette is so hard to do anything against that hero. You just have such a disadvantage, so much damage from that Relentless Salvo early on. But he's 4-1-5.
Yeah.
He's involved in 9 out of the 11 kills, Moonmeander. Playing very well this game.
Big stage, man. Playing in front of a lot of his fans, I'm sure, and you know, making some big plays indeed. Void Talisman picked up on Plague Rider, by the way. Yeah, the Astrolabe, the Tablet, yeah, Zai. Again, it just seems like every time you look at this guy,
where does he get this far?
Exactly. It's just like it is pretty ridiculous. So, but he's got all those items, so going to be very good. You see the Hellborn team, you know, Moraxis right now, kind of just pushing out here in the bottom lane. He has an Arcana himself, so he's going to be working on the Hellflower, and that could definitely help him get those hero kill stats up, of course.
Yeah, there's no one else on the map. Complexity sees him, but there's no one else from Hellborn on the map. You can suspect that's a bait.
Here we go. Succubus Hole coming out of Keeper of the Forest. The Root coming out as well. Or, excuse me, the Kelfield coming out. Are we going to see a Root coming out from Keeper of the Forest? Dark Knight will tear him apart before he can get it off. Moraxis in the meantime with that Matrix chasing out Jesse. Silhouette pounding in damage, but a nice sleep on himself by Succubus right there. Not going to be enough though. The Plague is going to bounce around, and actually Dark Knight needs to get away from that. Ophelia's minions just dropping right there. Dark Knight will fall as they chase her down. Glacius going to try to pour it out. He will be successful, and Bubble's actually porting away, so that will be the damage done, but Dark Lady goes down in the end. The only player they got was that Keeper of the Forest.
Yeah, Void Talisman actually was a big play, though, for Plague Rider. I mean, having that ultimate, it actually did a lot of damage, even though all the Ophelia creeps were there, and you saw Dark Lady transition onto Plague, but just couldn't do anything when Plague popped that Void Talisman, so Zai making big plays yet again.
Yeah, and now why not? They might as well push this bottom lane in yet again here and go for the racks. Of course, it is exposed. As a result of the earlier push, will Complexity be able to stop this? Will Dark Lady be able to buy back? We'll have to wait and see, but they're going to go up the ramp and into the base now. So this is definitely a tough spot, obviously, for Complexity. What do they do here? Succubus obviously just resurrecting. Dark Lady, though, pending a buyback, does have 25 seconds left on the resurrection timer. So may just need to wait this out. And as you see, the Melee Rax is going to fall. So it's safe to say, even Dark Lady does not have a buyback. The range racks also falling, and Trademark Esports will be up now one set of racks here.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious he didn't have a buyout right there. He did just purchase Geometer's Bane. If you're TDM, you can safely assume, okay, having a huge item like that just in this fight, only at the 34 minutes, he's farming really well. You can safely assume he didn't have a buyout.
Yeah. Well, talk about that big fight at the bottom lane. Clearly, Complexity was definitely thinking about that for a while. They were setting themselves up. They had the initiation on the Keeper of the Forest, but you mentioned that Void Talisman on Plague Rider definitely did some work right there. And just the team fight worked out better in favor of Trademark Esports, of course. Look at that damage done, by the way. The hero damage started 22% hero damage done by Silhouette, just tearing up the Sleeper team, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is a damage. So you activate those Dark Blades, it 80% boost to your base damage. It's ridiculous. On top of the silence it provides.
Silhouette, though, is the one that's actually up to 22%. So, yeah, she is dominating here in this game. You mentioned the Geometer's Bane, though, was eventually picked up by Dark Lady. Of course, she died in that last fight when she had it. But you mentioned, of course, Keep It the Forest can definitely be a very solid out as well as the Shrunken Head. So.
Yeah, as we get into the late game now, when it's very important as you initiate these team fights, especially being down a Rex, you really need to save up gold for a buyout. So Haxor, of course, obviously he just bought that item, and he wanted to use it. He thought they could maybe take a team fight and just wipe him with that item because it was looking pretty good before that as they were taking team fights, even with tdM having that token of life.
Yeah, I mean, can you blame him? Like you just said, I mean, it seemed like Complexity could definitely take those fights, but tdM just simply played it a little bit better, and as a result, came out on top, of course. So, for the time being, though, both teams looking like they're just going to kind of farm around a little bit. Succubus farming up this bottom lane some more. Again, Big Kid just continues to impress in a way. I mean, the items that he has after that horrible start, pretty solid. Now, his GPM overall isn't the most attractive necessarily, but the recovery is the beautiful thing there. So, as well as the Hellborn side and tdM, they too are just going to keep the creep waves pushed back. At some trees spawn right here. And Morax's Keeper the Forest just going to mass push now a little bit here in the middle lane.
I mean, it's the push from Keeper, and like you mentioned, the mass armor that you get from both Plague Rider and Keeper the Forest. It's, 12 armor plus 820. It's really ridiculous, especially when you're trying to push. And you have a tanky hero like Moraxis sitting up in the front, and then a damage dealer, of course, with Silhouette.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about Limp. His hero kill stats at least weren't the most impressive, but start picking it up a little bit, and he is going to have that Hellflower shortly here. So Hellflower will be a very, very powerful pickup, of course, for him, and going to give him a great initiation tool to follow up that portal key. If he's able to jump at that Dark Lady, which could be very likely, use the Hellflower, they can definitely burst her down. So that's something that Dark Lady, being played by Haxor, of course, will have to worry out for.
Yeah, actually, Chessie was right there. It's scouting out Kongor, using the minions, as both players can see that. And I mean, that's one important thing as you mentioned, the Kongor fight. If you get that token of life, it can be a big thing, especially when you already have a Rax down. And what most players will do, they will push the opposite lane. So not necessarily mid, but you push top. You have to walk all the way bottom to defend it. It's just really, really good strategy that most top teams do.
Well, you look at the push on the map right now. The top and the middle lane are being aggressively pushed, as is the bottom, of course, with the Rax being down. So Complexity. Sure, they may get some decent farm out of this, but the pressure is on them. I mean, the map control right now, safely could say, is in favor of Trademark Esports. So that's the good news again for tdM over here on the Hellborn side, and Complexity will be distracted by that somewhat. Still, at the same time, Dark Lady will be able to amplify her farm even more, kind of clearing up those creep waves. So for right now, Glacius just trying to find some free farm time here in the bottom lane. Franzi needs some more gold for those wards. He actually has 930 gold saved up, so I don't know what he's going to be buying here. His item's actually not too bad either. That's some decent farm. Yeah,
well, Haxor and Stain pretty much neck and neck with both farm and experience with Noob G as we approach this late game. And like I mentioned before, you know, he is a very, very good hero against Dark Lady because you can silence him, but of course, Silhouette does have that shrunken head, so those Dark Blades aren't nearly as effective as they once were.
Yeah. So as far as the next items that we're going to be seeing around the table, we'll see what Silhouette, of course, eventually goes for. For now, again, though, you look at the bottom lane, the creep wave is pushing into the base. It's really distracting Complexity here. And Franzi, for now, is going to be the one to just sit back and try to defend it. So Complexity is kind of on their heels in that point. And right now, you know, not seeing anyone on the map. We'll see what happens from here.
Yeah, absolutely. There really is nothing else they can do at this point except for farm up just a little bit more. And they're scouting around here. It looks like he's going to send a Minotaur down here in the bottom river as they see that. And you know, there you go. Actually, Noob G gets credit for the combo kill.
What is Moomiander doing right here? He's going to try himself away, but Moomiander's in a lot of trouble. The pursuit is not going to source for your Plague Rider. Can he actually get away from this? That would be unbelievable. I don't know if it's going to happen. The root even going to be used. He is in the take cover, though. He avoids the stun as a result of that. The portal key not going to happen, and Moomiander will fall. I am not sure what Moon was thinking, actually.
That is just very devastating. He's down for 55 seconds. If tdM decides to make a push right here, especially with the racks down, it's already inside of their base. They have the Token of Life yet up again on Silhouette, who has that Savage Mace just freshly purchased. It's not looking too good for Complexity.
It is not at all. Trademark Esports, they're going to mass push down the middle, and that will make things very difficult again. Will Bubbles be able to buy back? Obviously, that is important here for Complexity as well. Nonetheless, he does have 30 seconds resurrection timer as you can see right there on your screen. So this defensive tower dropping. When will they initiate? There's a second missile on Marx's. Darkening jumps in as well. Will this be enough damage? No, the Storm Spirit coming out. The Shrunken Head activated. Go for Silhouette, but Silhouette tearing off the Legion team. Succubus will fall. That Savage Mace doing work. Morax's with a jump in as well. Darkening's going to start falling, and Darkening can he actually get away? Judgment. The Blagoon bouncing around. Darkening will survive. Silhouette actually goes down, so the Token of Life will resurrect her. But she is still full power now, and vulnerability is forced to be used. Right now, the only one dead is that Succubus. Chessie does buy back there on Ophelia, so she is ready to come back into this fight. Franzi with barely any life comes in. There's the jump in from Bubbles. They get the one kill to Kimber. They get the two kills on Luna. Moraxis with the counter once again. And look at Darkening, but a defensive Storm Spirit right there. Now Silhouette's in a little bit of trouble. Puts the armor buff on. Darkening falling back, but now going back in. Another Storm Spirit coming out. Going for the Void Talisman from Plague Hunter. Saving him for now. The tank's still not enough. Silhouette still alive. Will they kill Plague Hunter? No, they will not. Plague Hunter still alive. And now Silhouette is on the run, but the portal key happens. And Noob G will get away for now,
Moon's
or
not
will
done.
he? Moon is not done just yet. He wants this kill. Oh, but the damage output. He's in a lot of trouble now. And Moon Meander will fall. Noob G. So much damage from Silhouette.
I mean, that was basically 4 shots, and Moon Meander had a good idea. He knows they're down. He knows they need to make a risk and make a big play. But with the racks down right there, they got what they came for.
Yeah, they certainly did. I mean, that was big plays all around for Trademark Esports. So the melee rack does fall in the middle lane, and that is really putting complexity on their heels now. As I stressed earlier, you know, with all the creep lanes being pushed, that is really going to do it. So now they'll not only have to worry a lot about the bottom lane, but even the middle lane here as far as playing very defensive. Now, again, the overall stats don't say that this is an overwhelming game by any means, and you do have a Dark Lady that is up there with the best of the best and continuing to look very good. But it is a dangerous place to be in here for complexity, no doubt.
I would say the only redeeming factor right now is the fact that Noob G did die. They did get that token of life on him. Had he not died actually right there, they could just re-push in the top lane, and there would be nothing that complexity could do. But they killed him, so there is still some hope.
Yeah, of course. Haxrin versus Noob G here. Dark Lady versus Silhouette. 22 Silhouette, 21 Dark Lady. Again, both farm is not too shabby. So we'll see what item I should say Haxrin decides to go for next. So Storm Spirits though definitely makes some big plays. Both teams of course have one here. Plague Hunter has the Storm Spirit for the Hellborn team. Moon Meander playing that Bubbles has the Storm Spirit for his own team. So we saw that last fight. Those actually Succubus also has her own. So 2 here on the Legion side.
There were Storm Spirits all over the place. I couldn't tell whether they're defensive or offensive, but people just getting thrown up in the air like crazy.
Yeah, that definitely is happening. So Dark Lady coming to the bottom here, and you can see right there, Demonic Breastplate picked up actually by Dark Lady. So you like that pickup?
I like that pickup a lot. It's give him a lot of armor. Give him a lot of armor. The only thing, though, is that you reveal that. I mean, you can safely say there's no way he's farming up like, what, 8,000 gold, 9,000 gold. That would be how much gold you'd have to buy that item and still have enough money for buyback. So that's a little hint there for tdM.
Yeah, if they want to try to take advantage of that, perhaps, is very, very true, Trelf. So we'll see if Trademark Esports maybe looks to take advantage of that. Plague Hunter farm in the top lane. We'll see where he goes from there. Middle lane, Dark Lady though, and he's just going to, and this is what they have to do, obviously. They just have to make sure, if they want to make a move, they got to make sure both the bottom and mid are at least somewhat pushed back, because the more they get distracted elsewhere, their tower will start to get pasted in at the or at the World Tree in this case. So got to always be that in the back of your head with that. You see the bottom lane is pushing up somewhat, so somebody may need to go take a look at that soon, depending on what complexity wants to actually do here, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will see as they're marching up mid. The bottom lane, though, is being pressured, of course, naturally because of the super creeps. And that's one thing you have to have in the back of your mind. It makes it a little bit more difficult trying to push into the base.
Morax is holding his ground here at the tower and actually taking out a couple of creeps right there. But Haxrin just destroying the creep wave there and farming it up. So, man, you just can feel the anticipation is definitely in the air. Who is going to be jumping? I mean, what is going to be happening here? The red power throw coming through, and of course, a great creep clearing potential ability. There's that Astrolabe that I talked about, though. Healing the creeps out. Here we go, the jump on to Dark Lady. Can they burst him down? Time Dark Lady following. There's a Storm Spirit, but he's lost a lot of life. Oh, he burst down, and Dark Lady is dead. Glacius will fall. There's the kill on Ophelia, and Trademark Esports is on the way. GG Wallbase being called. Trademark Esports are your DreamHack winner 2012 champions. What an event that was right there. It all comes to a conclusion with Trademark Esports taking out Complexity 2-0.
Yep.
I know you had your thing. I can't say I saw that coming. I really can't. At the very least 3 games, but Complexity just looked so good going into this event. They were the team to beat, no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
But Trademark Esports took that challenge, and they won the series very deservingly, 2-0.
Well, I got to be honest, of course, coming in and talking to the players, specifically Complexity, at the boot camp session that both teams were at, they just had a little bit of a different attitude, honestly, when talking about Trademark Esports. And, talking to other teams as well, QSQ, TT Esports, and they all kind of seem like, wow, tdM's got something really strong going on. They've been playing really well.
Yeah.
They've been taking this very seriously. And, they brought it tonight. Complexity said they didn't think especially that they could lose a best of 3. But, you go back to the Han Tour qualifiers, and that just brings back some memories with tdM taking them that series as well.
The biggest difference here, obviously, it wasn't that cheese strategy. It
That's
wasn't
right.
that mass push that came out of tdM. This was a straight up, we're going to choose our best lineup, you choose your best lineup, and we'll beat you straight up. Trademark Esports, simply put, was the better team tonight over Complexity. You cannot argue that. They simply put were. They did not cheese or anything.